Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I have another Cricut project to share. I'm going to show you how to make these Tootsie Pop Pumpkin Favors for Thanksgiving. They turned out so cute and I'm excited to show you how to make your own. For this project you'll need cardstock, and I used orange, green, and an off-white. You'll need glue, Tootsie Pops, an ink pad for distressing, Raffia, and of course your Cricut, a cutting mat, and the cut file. So grab your supplies and head over to your computer. The first thing we need to do is grab the SVG file we'll be using for this project. You can get it for free on my blog at burtonavenue.com. I keep all the SVG files for these projects I make and share in my free SVG library. These files will work with all kinds of cutting machines and they're free to everyone. Once you're on my site, just click on Free SVG Files and then Free SVG Library. You will need a password to get into the library, and there are instructions on the screen if you need to get one. For this project, we'll be using the cut file called Pumpkin Favor BA1719. To find it, you can either click on the Thanksgiving link, or you can use your browser search and just type in 1719. Once you found the file, you can click on that link and the files will be downloaded onto your computer. So I'm going to show you how to cut this design in Cricut Design Space. If you're not sure how to unzip and import designs into Cricut Design Space, be sure to check out my step-by-step tutorial. So once you import the design, it's going to look like this on the canvas screen. So this is enough to make 2 of those pumpkin favors. So we have leaves and tags and the pumpkins, and then these rectangles are to wrap around the sticks of your Tootsie Pops to make them look more like the stems. So the first thing that we're going to do is resize everything so that it will work with our Tootsie Pop. So up in the width, you're going to change that to 9.5 inches. And make sure that the lock is closed so the height will adjust proportionally. And then I'm going to click on this minus sign just so I can see everything a little bit better. The next thing that we're going to do is ungroup everything so that we can work with the different colors. So you're going to right click and choose ungroup, and then I'm going to select these pieces and shift them over to the side so I can work with the pumpkins. Now on the pumpkins you'll see little perforation lines. So what we need to do is attach those perforation lines to our pumpkin shape. So we're going to select all of those shapes and all of the perforation lines and right click and choose attach. So now those are all locked together and ready to go. Next we're going to work on these tags. And we're going to add some names on the tags and have our Cricut write them with a pen. So I'm going to zoom in again. And then I'm going to right click and ungroup those tags. And now we can click on text and then type out your name. And I'm using a font called Pinsetter Line. And this is a single line font that works perfectly with the Cricut pens. The next thing that we're going to do is weld this name together and make sure that all the different pieces of these letters stay in place. Sometimes Cricut is a little buggy, and when we click on weld, sometimes weird things happen with the letters. So I'm going to select the design and click weld, and you'll notice that the line under the I disappeared. So I'm going to click on undo, and I'm going to try making this font a little bit bigger, and then I'm going to try to weld it again. And that time everything stayed in place. So now our name is good. We can select it and resize it so that it will fit on the little tag. The next thing that you need to do is go up to the operations box and click on the drop down arrow and change it to pen. And that will just let your Cricut know that it's going to write this name with a pen instead of cutting it out with the blade. Then you can select the name and the tag, click on Align and choose Center Vertically, and then you'll also right click and choose Attach. And then you can repeat this with any other tags you're making. Now we have these leaves and these little rectangles down here that we don't really have to do anything with. And so now we can send this design to our machine to cut. So now we can click on the green Make It button. And then you'll be taken to this screen. And this is just going to show you what the design is going to look like on the different cutting mats. And you'll notice that Cricut automatically divides it into 3 different cutting mats that each correspond with the different colors we're going to use. So I am actually going to cut these tags out of an off-white color, and we're going to do those first since we're using the pen tool and the knife tool. So I'm going to click on continue. Make sure that your Cricut is turned on, and once Design Space finds it, you'll be taken to this screen. Make sure that your dial is set to cardstock, and also make sure that you have a pen loaded into clamp A. And then your knife should just be in clamp B like normal. And now we can go over and load the mat. So place a piece of cardstock on your cutting mat and smooth it down. Then load it into your Cricut by pressing the up and down arrow button. When your Cricut is ready to cut, you'll see the C button light up. Press that and the machine will begin cutting. Since we're doing the tags first, it's actually going to use the pen tool to write the names, and then it will go back and cut them out. Once that is finished, you can press the up and down arrow button again to unload your mat. Remove the cardstock from the cutting mat. You'll want to slightly bend the cutting mat and then carefully pull off the tags so they don't bend. Remove any cardstock pieces that are still on the mat and then load on a piece of orange cardstock. Load that into your Cricut by pressing the up and down arrow button. Hop back over to Cricut Design Space and make sure the orange mat is selected to cut next. Then press the C button to cut out the shapes, and then repeat that with the green cardstock. Each pumpkin will use 6 orange pieces, 1 leaf, 1 tag, and 1 rectangle strip. You'll also need a Tootsie Pop and Raffia to finish it off. Start by gluing the green rectangle around the Tootsie Pop stick to make it look like a stem. And I actually trimmed off a little bit of the stick so it wasn't quite so long. Next, we're going to distress the edges of the pumpkins. I used an ink pad and just brushed it back and forth along the edges until some of the color transferred onto the cardstock. You'll only need to distress the edges on the front of the pumpkin shapes. Now, with the distressed side facing up, fold all the pumpkins in half along the perforation lines. Then glue 2 of the pieces together. The pieces are symmetrical, so it doesn't matter which end is the top or the bottom. When you're adding the glue to the top of the piece, leave a small gap so the glue doesn't go all the way to the edge of the paper. This will just make it a little easier to put the Tootsie Pop inside of the pumpkin. Glue all 6 pieces together so you end up with a stack like this. Now place the Tootsie Pop in the center and wrap the cardstock around it, and then glue together the 2 pieces. Tie a couple of pieces of raffia around your Tootsie Pop stick. Thread the leaf onto one strand and the tag on another. Tie another couple of knots and then trim the raffia. And that's it. This project is finished. Now you have some adorable pumpkin favors to place on your Thanksgiving table. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more like it, be sure to subscribe and click on the notification bell so you'll get notified each time I post something new.